Let's see who our first fighter is. Whoa. You hear that?
What is that?
Whoa, what's that? Oh my god! Assalamu alaikum, my brothers. Today, we're gonna make a video talking about how the current UFC champs, how they would face off against the UFC Gauntlet. My name's Omar. I'm joined by Landon.
What's up, guys?
And without further ado, let's just get right into it. Alright, first champ, Joshua Van. He's got a lot going for him right now. He's a good striker. Let's see who he's gonna face off against. Henry Cejudo, prime Henry Cejudo, not the current Henry Cejudo we have now.
Not terrible Henry.
Not terrible Henry, not post-retirement Henry.
Cringy podcaster, can't win a fight Henry.
I'm not gonna lie, I think Henry Cejudo, his wrestling was just way too good back then. Joshua Van's good, but Henry Cejudo, he was triple champ, triple C, triple cringe. I can't see Henry Cejudo, prime Henry Cejudo, losing that fight.
Yeah, I'm also gonna take Cejudo at his peak. Before his, retirement that he had in 2020, he was the best fighter among, bantam and flyweight. Very impressive for him to be like 5'3" and still be the best 135er in the world. Van's a great fighter, young guy. He's a phenomenal striker, really entertaining, but I think Cejudo would just, wrestle him down. I think this is a fight that he would win. I think it might be closer than people think. I really like Joshua Van, but I'm going to go Cejudo here and say Van actually fails at the bronze level.
Even looking at his wins, he had the best wins. Demetrius Johnson, which I know a lot of people say he lost that fight, but that's still a win on his record. TJ Dillashaw, and some people say, oh, that was kind of a weight drain. TJ Dillashaw, he still beat him. Dominic Cruz, I know this was in bantamweight, but still just shows how he would handle Joshua Van. Henry Cejudo himself was a good striker. This is the second fighter. Let's say he gets past Henry Cejudo. Let's see who he'd be.
Round one, flying knee, knockout. Somehow does it.
Yeah, he'd do something crazy. Let's see who he'd be.
Cejudo would break his arm or something, defending a takedown.
It'd be like some fluky, like what happened with Pantoja. But speaking of Pantoja,
speaking of the cannibal,
speak of the devil, and he shall appear. Because we have Alejandro Pantoja at silver. This is prime Pantoja. No, this isn't the Pantoja that would break his arm, getting taken down. This is the Pantoja that beat Brandon Moreno, beat Brandon Royval.
Made Kai Asakura look like an amateur.
Submitted him in, was it the first round or the second round?
Very early second. He got him in like a minute, I think.
I think this version of Pantoja submits Joshua Van. I think it's not even close. It'd just be over very quickly.
Yeah, this is a really funny one just because Van has actually beaten Pantoja technically. But does anyone really count that? No. I actually do think Pantoja's pretty close to his peak still. I mean, he seems like he gets better with every fight. He gets more confident. He gets more wild. He gets more chaotic. And I think had he not suffered that freak elbow dislocation or whatever it actually was that they classified it as, I think he would have beaten Van in the first or second round. He's going to come back, whether it's at the end of this year or next year. He's going to reclaim his belt, I think. It'll be a fun fight with whether it's Van or Tyra that he gets it with, but he's going to win. Yeah, I'm taking him over Van here.
Yeah, I agree. Let's say it happens again.
Breaks his arm again.
Let's see who he'd face. Demetrius Mighty Mouse Johnson. Do I even need to say anything for this guy? He's getting submitted. Flying armbar triangle combination submission every which way.
Xbox shorts. This is
exactly. Prime Demetrius Johnson. So he is wearing Xbox apparel. He will submit him. And then he's going to play some type of video game, and he's going to have a bigger reaction to winning those games than to beating Joshua Van. He will destroy.
He's going to have a voice track post-fight interview. I want to beat my wife.
And meanwhile, Joshua Van, he's going to be out cold in the middle of the canvas. It will be over. We'll never see Joshua Van again. And Demetrius Johnson, he's going to go back on that title defense streak.
He's going to do it all for like $70,000 or whatever he was getting paid.
Probably going to get traded again to Bellator, whatever.
Yeah, we're going to get like Paul Hughes back for him or something.
That's what's going to happen. There's no way in hell Joshua Van is beating a prime Demetrius Johnson, the GOAT of the division. Some would even say the greatest of all time.
Go check out our GOAT list.
Check out our GOAT list. Yeah. Meanwhile, on to the next fighter. Petr Yan, coming off a great Merab win. Merab Dvalishvili, who was going to be the GOAT of the division. If he beat Petr Yan, I think he would have been the GOAT of the division.
I already have him there, but I think that would have really solidified him.
Right now, it's kind of a toss-up. Some people say Dominic Cruz. Some people say Merab. Some people even say Aljamain Sterling. Lucas Tracy said it was Petr Yan.
Look, if Yan puts together a couple of defenses, I mean, it'd be hard not to argue that.
Let's see who's the first fighter that he's going to face. Again, Henry Cejudo, prime Henry Cejudo. Henry Cejudo's pretty good. We know how good his wrestling is. Is it as good as Merab's was the first time that he fought Petr Yan?
I would take Yan here, to be honest. I mean, I think he's
Yeah.
just similar formula to the second Merab fight. He had an injury. I forgot what it was in the first Merab fight that a lot of people point to as to why he couldn't defend takedowns as well. But I mean, the second one, he was, whatever he did, whatever adjustment he made, it worked beautifully. We know he's maybe the best striker, or at least the best boxer in the division, up there with O'Malley. I think he'd be able to keep Cejudo off his legs. And when he does get there, I don't think he's going to get him down and keep him down. I think this would turn into a very similar fight to what the Merab rematch was. And I think Yan would win and advance here to the silver round.
I don't know if you could find a better wrestler than Merab Dvalishvili. I know Henry Cejudo was an Olympic gold medal winner, but I see Petr Yan keeping the fight on the feet, and that's just where he has the advantage. You know, he's one of the best boxers in the UFC. I think he might win this one via decision, maybe even split decision. I think Petr Yan has the slight edge. We can move on to the silver. TJ Dillashaw, I don't even need to say anything. He smokes TJ Dillashaw.
I actually think Dillashaw is a worse fighter to be put against Yan than Cejudo is. I think Yan puts him out cold.
Yeah, I was debating whether or not I should switch out Henry Cejudo and TJ Dillashaw here, but I just think TJ Dillashaw's done more in the division.
Yeah.
Cejudo, I think he's only had one title defense in bantamweight, but I think he is better than TJ Dillashaw. Petr Yan destroys TJ Dillashaw, moves up to the gold. Dominic Cruz, I think he destroys him too, because Henry Cejudo beat Dominic Cruz. MMA math, right? I think he's just a better boxer. You know, there's nothing Dominic Cruz can really do. He can't really take him down. He's going to stay on the feet. Cody Garbrandt was able to beat Dominic Cruz. If he can do it, I think Petr Yan definitely can.
Also going Yan here, I think to beat Yan, you need one of two things. You either need to be a relentless wrestler that can, get him down or kind of neutralize his boxing by staying on him and aggressive like we saw with Merab, or you just need to be able to, match his striking or outstrike him like, we saw with O'Malley. I actually do think Yan won that fight, but I mean, it was very close. They could have gone either way. And Cruz, I just don't think has either of those things. Definitely not the wrestling. He's a very awkward striker, really fun striker, but I mean, I think Yan is just too technical. I think this would go similar to Dillashaw. I think he would knock him out.
So far, Petr Yan's the only one that we believe would confidently go through the gauntlet. Let's see if there's anyone else like that. Alexander Volkanovski, current featherweight. He's a little old. This isn't going to be prime Volk, the guy that took out...
This is cooking with Volk.
Yeah, this is cooking with Volk. This is old man Volk. This is the guy that goes to sleep in the middle of press conferences.
Sings emo songs, it's just what he is now.
Yeah, oh, my back. Like that type of Volk. Let's see who his first opponent is. Let's see if he could get past his first opponent. Prime Jose Aldo. When we say prime, he was in his prime when he lost to Conor McGregor.
This is like 2014, 2012 to 2014 coming out of the WEC, Jose Aldo.
Okay, that was his prime, but he was still in his prime when he fought Conor. There's a lot of dispute about Jose Aldo in his prime. When he fought Conor, a lot of people are like, oh, he wasn't in his prime. But then in his next fight, he back in his prime. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, you're not out of your prime at like 28 or whatever he was. He was definitely like at least near the peak of his power when he fought Conor.
This is the best version of Jose Aldo. Could current Volkanovski do it? Because he did beat him. How old was Aldo? I don't know if he was in his prime then.
I think it was 2018 or 19. It was right before Volk got a title shot, so he would have been 32-ish, 32, 33 maybe.
That's still kind of in your prime. Those are like the top years as a fighter.
At that point, his only losses had been to Max and Conor.
Yeah, I think Volkanovski destroys him. I think he gets the win via decision. Volk, he's still up there. Even though he's old, he's still beaten Diego Lopez twice, who's a younger fighter and a slick boxer with power. The only guy that he's lost to in featherweight is Ilia Topuria, and Ilia Topuria just has that power. He's knocked out Max Holloway, Charles Oliveira, so I'm just going to stick with Volkanovski here.
Yeah, I'm also going to go Volk too. I think this would be an amazing fight to watch. Even Prime Volk, even though I think Prime Volk would kind of dispatch him pretty easily, I think that would still be fun just stylistically. To anyone who never watched, Jose Aldo in his prime, I mean, he was an insane kickboxer who had great takedown defense. So, I mean, I think this fight would 100% stay standing. I just trust Volk a little more on the feet than I do Aldo. As great as he was, I don't want to, hate on his legacy, but he has a little bit of it's kind of like it was circumstance. Like it wasn't as many people that were, could challenge a guy like him as compared to Volk, who has an insane competition level. So I think Volk would take him in a nice fight, a fun fight that probably goes to a decision. I'd say like 49-46 Volk. That's what my prediction would be.
And after that fight, they're giving him Diego Lopez straight away. Trilogy fight. But yeah, he's going to get past Jose Aldo and it's not going to be too difficult for Volk. Let's see who he'd face next. Conor McGregor. Prime Conor McGregor. Okay, so this is the Conor McGregor that just knocked out Jose Aldo. He's Mystic Mac, predicting how his fights turn out. He has the knockout power. I'm sorry, but I think he beats Volkanovski. I think he just has too much power for the current Volk. And this is the young, hungry, rejuvenated McGregor. This is the McGregor we haven't seen in years. This is the pre-Floyd Mayweather, pre-Khabib Nurmagomedov, pre-Nate Diaz. This is the McGregor that beat Max Holloway, beat Chad Mendes, and is coming off of the Jose Aldo win. I think this guy would destroy Volkanovski in his current status. Now, Volkanovski in his prime, that's a different thing. I think that would be a closer fight. But Volkanovski's not the same guy he used to be. He's been chinned twice, and I think he's going to get chinned again.
Yeah, I was debating a lot on this one, actually. The thing with Volk is he's such a good defensive fighter, and he's so good at keeping people at range. I mean, the only guy who's really been able to close in on him and tag him has been Ilia. I know, Islam got a head kick, but that was more like catching him while circling out at range. This one was really hard. I think I'm going to take Conor to find it eventually, but it wouldn't shock me if Volk were to take this thing to a decision. I think this is a lot more like the Diego Lopez fights where Diego at any time can just catch him. Like in their first fight when he dropped him in the second round and everybody thought, oh, it's over, Volk is washed. But then outside of that, Volk kind of dominated him. So I could see it going something like that, but it's something about that 2015 Conor aura that it just felt like he always found it. Even when he was down around to Chad Mendes, he still knocked him out in the second round, late in the second round. He was heavily down against Aldo. He found it immediately. Kind of a deep pull, but like Dennis Siver back when they fought in 2014, he was, that was the guy that people thought might be dangerous to Conor, and he managed to knock him out.
Dustin Poirier, too, knocked him out in the first round.
Dustin Poirier, too. Max Holloway, he took to a decision. I think Conor would get him. I think a fight that probably could go either way, though. If this was Prime Volk, I think Prime Volk probably takes him. I think his offense is better than it is now. I'm going to go Conor slightly.
Yeah, and I think there's only two ways this fight can go. It's either going to be Conor by knockout or Volkanovski by decision, because we know that Conor McGregor, his stamina is a little questionable. We've seen him kind of falter in the later rounds as he fights. Volkanovski's the opposite of that. He likes to draw fights out. He likes to take his opponents into deep water. I think if it's a longer fight, it's Volkanovski's fight.
I think if it gets out of the second round, it would be really hard to imagine Conor winning.
In those early rounds, if Conor doesn't take advantage of Volkanovski, of his weak chin, and draw him in and knock him out, I think it's going to be a hard fight in the later rounds for Conor McGregor. But yeah, I think it's a high chance that Volkanovski gets chinned and knocked out. On to the gold. Ilia Topuria. They're right next to each other. We already know what's going to happen. He's going to knock him out. It's going to be bad. It's going to be worse than the first time. It's over. Case closed. We've seen this already. We don't even need to talk about it. Ilia knocks him out. It's Ilia's fight.
Yeah, fair. I think Ilia's going to win this one too. I will say I did recently go back and watch the first meeting between these two, and it kind of surprised me. I forgot that Volkanovski won round one. He was probably losing round two, but he was having a lot of success using his jab and keeping Ilia away from him. So I think something similar could happen. If anyone could beat Ilia at a lower weight class, it would be Volk, just because he's such a good defensive fighter. Again, sort of the same logic with Conor, and even more so with Ilia, because I think he's just a lot better, to be quite honest. He always finds it. There's something with him. He always knows how to press you at the right moment. Even when it doesn't look like he has got you, he knows, your patterns. He's great at recognizing that mid-fight. He's great at cutting you off. He knows when to pressure, when to back off, when to throw, when to defend. The same thing happened in the Max Holloway fight. The first two rounds, he never really put Max in a ton of danger with a knockout. And then he caught him backing up at the right moment and knocked him out. First person to ever knock out Max Holloway. And I think he would do the same thing to Volk in this scenario that he did to him 2 years ago, which is catch him when he least expects it. He's going to be backing up. He's going to have a hand down, trying to keep Ilia at bay, and he's just going to get hit with a right hook, and it's going to drop him.
Yeah, just the way he presses you up against the cage, pause. I think that's just a bad thing for Volk. It's going to end badly, just like the first fight. If he's getting past McGregor, he would not get past Topuria.
Nobody at 145 is beating Ilia Topuria.
But on to the next one. Speaking of the devil, Ilia Topuria, current lightweight champ. He seems invincible right now. He's undefeated, but let's see if he can beat these guys. First off, BJ Penn.
He doesn't need any more brain damage, man. Why'd you do this to him?
This is prime BJ Penn. This is not the BJ Penn that gets knocked out by randos in the middle of the street.
His mom is like alone or whatever he was staying on.
Yeah, this isn't the BJ Penn that thinks his family's been taken over by the government and replaced by clones. This is the BJ Penn that faced off against GSP, had a good fight against GSP. This is the prime BJ Penn. Yeah, he's still getting knocked out. He will find the chin. He will knock out BJ Penn. Forget everything I said about BJ Penn. It doesn't matter if he's in his prime or not. He's getting knocked out.
People forget BJ Penn, double champion. Was kind of the original lightweight GOAT. He was a great fighter at his peak, which is what we're seeing. And, if he can put everything together and he fights the best fight he possibly can, he might last 2 minutes. Might be the easiest pick of the video.
This might be the lock of the video. BJ Penn, he's going to fall asleep in the middle of the cage. That's just what's going to happen. And then Ilia, we're going to see him throwing a rose on top of him. That's
Go
how
drink a cup of tea over him or something.
That's going to be how BJ Penn comes to the realization that everyone in the audience
is a clone
sent by the government. And on to the next guy. Khabib Nurmagomedov.
This is going to be an interesting discussion.
Yeah, this is interesting. I was originally thinking about putting him at gold, but I think the person at gold, we know who it is, but I think he's a little more well-rounded. But Khabib, his wrestling is just too powerful, too phenomenal. Whose wrestling is as good as Khabib's was? This guy out-wrestled everyone he fought, brought everyone he fought to the ground. He's undefeated. He hasn't bled once. Has he even been grazed or knocked down or anything?
Definitely not been knocked down. He's definitely taken some shots before.
Yeah, I don't know if Ilia can find his chin. If he does, he'd have to actually engage with him. I think Khabib's taking this fight to the ground, and I think he's just mauling him like what he does to everyone he fights. It's hard seeing Khabib lose. You rarely see him getting into, any adversity in the octagon. It's very difficult. I'm giving this one to Khabib. He's probably not going to submit him. I think it's going to be Khabib by decision.
Yeah, this is a really hard one to me because, it's talking about Khabib, it's been 5.5 years since he's been in the octagon. So you try not to let recency bias, take over your opinion with him, because when you watch him fight, he's just so dominant. Look what he did to Poirier and Gagey and McGregor, and Ally Quinta. Who does that to Ally Quinta? The thing with Ilia, just talking about fight styles here, Khabib, if you remember, when he was on the feet, he didn't spend a lot of time there. He was extremely aggressive pressing in, and he was kind of goofy. I think everyone's seen the video of him striking with Tabao, where he's just kind of throwing stuff and it's not even close. But he liked pressuring, and that was his thing. He kept people on their back foot, which allowed him to get the takedowns. I don't know that really scares Ilia as much as it would other people. And I also really trust Ilia's ability to counter-strike against that, goofy forward pressure. And maybe he wouldn't. Conor couldn't do it. Dustin couldn't do it. So I could easily see Khabib winning this. But I'm going to take Ilia by, shocking knockout. I think he actually, if anyone could find it on Khabib with that, forward press style, it would be Ilia just digging his heels in and catching him with something. But again, this is a 50-50 to me. I could easily, if this fight were to ever happen, I could easily see Khabib just hugging him on the ground, maybe even submitting him. But I could also see the Ilia knockout kind of catching everyone off guard, similar to how he did it with Volk.
This could be a different fight if Khabib kept fighting and we could truly see how good he really was. If he fights the way he always does, he's going to try to shoot for the takedown. We've never seen him really get cracked before, but Ilia is really powerful. He cracks everyone. Pause. It could go either way, but I'm going to side with Khabib Nurmagomedov.
Well, to your point about Khabib, we don't know if that was his prime. You think about the progression Islam has made in the last 3 years, what his striking looked like in the first Volk fight versus what it looks like now. Who's to say Khabib couldn't have that type of progression as a striker? And then, if he had any level of competent boxing, this fight would just be non-competitive, I feel like.
That's why I put this guy at gold. Islam Makhachev. He is the well-rounded version of Khabib Nurmagomedov. He has the striking. He has the wrestling, albeit it's not as good as Khabib's wrestling. It's not, as dominant, but we have seen him dominate people similar to Khabib, like what he just did to JDM. I think this is a very bad matchup for Ilia Topuria. We know Islam's been chin before, but this was years ago. We haven't really seen him get chin like that again. And, he is kind of a clumsy fighter. He slips a lot. It happened against Volk. It happened against Moicano.
People forget Moicano dropped him.
I think that Islam wins this fight. I don't know if he can submit him, but he's definitely going to do some laying praying. A lot of people say that Topuria has the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but literally everyone has Jiu-Jitsu until they face a Dagestani. Dustin Poirier, Charles Oliveira. He got submitted by Islam in round 2. I just think Islam is just too good. I think he's the GOAT, greatest of all time, better than John Jones, better than GSP. I think he finds a way to beat Ilia Topuria either by submission or he draws it out and he wins by decision.
Yeah, at 170, I think this is just there's just no way Ilia would ever beat him. He'd be too big and too strong. I think at 155, you kind of give Ilia a chance as a smaller guy. He has a fighting chance, a puncher's chance, if you will, with a drained Islam whose chin isn't going to be as strong. He's not going to be as physically dominant. You know, he's probably like, 15 pounds less, like just rehydration weight at 55. Probably goes from like 170 to like 180 something when he's at welterweight.
Mm-hmm.
I think Ilia has a chance here. I'm not going to take him. I think Islam's just way too skilled on the ground. He's way too, technical on the feet. He doesn't really knock people out with his boxing, but I mean, he is great at, controlling the range, at tapping people, getting people to, maybe forget about the wrestling a little bit because they get so focused on these boxing exchanges. And I think that's kind of where Islam's advantage would be with Ilia. I think he would beat him at 155, but I mean, this would probably be the highest level fight of all time, just pure skill. I don't know if you agree with that, but that would be my
I agree.
take.
100% of all time in the UFC.
I don't think you could top Ilia versus Islam if it was at 155. At 170, I think Islam just dominates him. But I'm going to take Islam here. I think it'd be a close fight, it'd be a fun fight. I definitely wouldn't count Ilia out, but I think Islam just a little bit too big and a little bit too skilled for the size advantage that he has.
Yeah, and hopefully we get to see this fight in the octagon at some point. If anyone could do it, Ilia could, but Islam's just too good. But yeah, on to the next one.
Speaking of Islam,
brother, Islam Makhachev, current welterweight champ, and I was there to see it. Let's see who he's going to face off against. Matt Hughes. People forget about Matt Hughes. He's like the poster boy for people forget, man. Because this guy was so
good.
So good, so dominant, but people don't talk about him. Like, you never hear him in GOAT debates. His
legacy kind of got stolen by GSP, unfortunately.
Exactly. Like, he could have been the American GSP. He could have been the guy that we're all saying, oh, he might be better than John Jones. But yeah, that is what happened. His legacy got taken over by GSP. Lost to GSP twice, but beat GSP once. He also beat Matt Serra, who beat GSP. So, technically you could say he has 2 wins over GSP. Against Islam Makhachev, he did have wrestling. He was a D1, right?
Yeah, he was a phenomenal wrestler. There's a lot of stories about him. We can probably get into that in another video, but there was crazy stuff that got said about him in the gym, what he would do to people.
Yeah, he was a crazy bully. I know about that. But he's facing off against the weight bully in Islam Makhachev. I think Dagestani wrestling is superior to American wrestling. I think that Islam destroys him. It's in their lifestyle to wrestle. That's all they do. They're in the mountains, high altitudes. They have stamina. I think he's going to repeatedly try to take him down. He's eventually going to get to it. And when he does, I think he's going to submit Matt Hughes. And also, this was an old version of the UFC. The people weren't really well-rounded. People only had like one skill set. And, Islam, he's like one of the most well-rounded fighters of the modern era. I think he destroys Matt Hughes. He might submit him early or, maybe drag it on, submit him in the later rounds like what he did to Poirier, or decision. Either way, this is Islam Makhachev. I think Islam Makhachev's winning this fight.
Yeah, I'll keep it short. Islam round 1 sub. I don't see a world where Matt Hughes wins this. I mean, he, for early to mid-2000s, dominant guy, really great champion, kind of the first elite, welterweight guy. He's just not Islam. I mean, we're talking about 20 years of development of the sport, 20 years of training, just progressing as a sport and as a community. And I think that Islam would show him levels. He would show him techniques that Matt Hughes has never even heard of before. And he would dominate him. He would submit it within the first 2 rounds. And I think it's a pretty easy one to let Islam move on to the silver round.
Yeah, and you can even say that his performance wouldn't be very impressive. But yeah, on to the next one. Kamaruddin Usman. I mean, we've pretty much seen this fight already. Kamaru versus Khamzat, that's pretty much what would happen. I mean, Islam's wrestling isn't as dominant as Khamzat's. He doesn't shoot the first opportunity he gets. It's still going to end up that way, I mean, and this is prime Kamaru. The Kamaru that faced Khamzat wasn't the prime version. Same thing as I said with Matt Hughes. I think Dagestani wrestling's better than American wrestling. I think he's gonna lose. He's gonna get taken down, similar to what happened with Khamzat. But this one, it's gonna be a little more difficult. I think it's gonna be by decision. I don't think he's gonna find a way to submit him. I think Islam's just too good. This is his weight class. He's wanted to be in this weight class for years now, and I think this is just his opportunity to show his greatness.
Yeah, a lot closer fight, I think, than Matt Hughes. Kamaru Usman is a very underrated striker. His boxing, he's got good power. We saw what he did to Gilbert Burns. Speaking of Burns, happy retirement to that guy. But
Yeah,
I think this would be a fun fight. I think these guys are kind of, similarly styled in terms of the fact that they are good boxers. They used to open up the wrestling. Islam's a lot better, with the grappling, the submission on the ground, while Usman's kind of more just like a dominant position style wrestler. So I think we'd get a lot of fun exchanges here, and it'd be a really high level fight. This is the fight that could actually happen. Not peak Usman, but like, would it shock me if Islam's next title defense is Usman? Not really. So maybe we'll actually see something like this. But yeah, I mean, I think it'd be a lot of fun. I think it'd be close, but I think Islam is just better. In the end, I think skill, when you have guys who are similar size, skill will always prevail. And I would take Islam by like a 49-46 decision here, maybe 48-47. I don't think he'd get the finish, but I think it'd be a really close decision.
but yeah, let's see who's gold. George Rush St. Pierre. We knew this guy would be a gold. This is a lot closer. This is gonna be Islam's toughest fight. Prime GSP. I think this is the GSP that just came off of the I think I'm gonna say the one that beat Matt Serra, because after he got that win over Matt Serra, he was on top. He got his win back. I
And
think
then he went on to beat like Carlos Condit and them. That's probably where he was like really peaking. Like after he beat Sarah and went on that run.
yeah, Carlos Condit, Nick Diaz. He just went on a crazy run, and he was one of the best fighters ever. I think this is a very close fight, but I think Islam still wins this fight. We saw what Matt Hughes did to GSP. Matt Hughes has the wrestling, but Islam, as I said before, he's from Dagestan. He has that Dagestani wrestling. He's more well-rounded. He's like a new era fighter. You like take him on a time machine, send him back. He's gonna beat everyone from back then. It's the same thing that they say in basketball. Like what if you took LeBron, dropped him in the Jordan era? LeBron's gonna be destroying everyone, and I think that's the same thing Islam's gonna do. He's not gonna destroy GSP. He's gonna win. It's gonna be close. It's gonna be pretty competitive, but I think he's gonna find a way to win. And GSP's lost before, so it's not a stretch to say that Islam's gonna beat him. One of the greatest. But yeah, I have Islam winning, maybe either split decision, like what happened against Volk, or he wins by dominant unanimous decision.
Yeah, I'm also going to take Islam here. I think it's a little bit of a similar rationale to what I had with Matt Hughes. And I'll give GSP a lot of credit. I mean, he is a pioneer to the sport. A lot of modern, wrestling, MMA wrestling, with the cage is derived off of what he was doing. Because a lot of early wrestlers didn't have the same success. They were kind of just trying to freestyle. And, GSP figured out how to use the cage to your advantage, and how, pressuring people on their back foot, really helped, which a lot of, people hadn't really unlocked yet. So I'll give him a lot of credit, but I also think that, being the guy who kind of introduced that, paved the way for a guy like Islam to master it. And so while I do think it'd be a really close fight, I think Islam is almost just like a better version of GSP in a way, a more modern version, a more advanced version, which is why I think he would win. Probably also in a decision. I think GSP's defense is a little bit too good to, get him finished. But I think this is just a fight where Islam wins. And a comparison I'd kind of like to throw out there is, a lot of people say like they see a move in basketball and they're like, oh, if MJ did this, like people would say it was insane, but now we see 100 people do it. And, that doesn't mean you got to like discredit, MJ. And I think this is kind of what this is. It's like now a lot of people can do what GSP did. So that doesn't mean we should discredit him. But I think Islam would beat him here in a nice fight, though.
Well said. But yeah, we can move on. to our middleweight champ, Khamzat Chimaev. This might be quick just because how dominant Khamzat Chimaev is. I know he hasn't fought in middleweight that many times. When he does fight, he's just extremely dominant. It's not even close. First fighter, Sean Strickland. This is a guy that he's going to fight soon. We're going to see how this turns out. This is real. He's going to destroy Sean Strickland. When you look at how many times that Sean Strickland was taken down by Dricus du Plessis, the guy that doesn't even have half of Khamzat Chimaev's wrestling capabilities. We saw what Khamzat was able to do to Dricus du Plessis. He's going to do it double the amount to Sean Strickland. He's going to take him down. What people thought that Anthony Hernandez was going to do is what Khamzat is actually going to do against Sean Strickland. He's going to destroy him. If it's not a dominant fight like what happened with DDP, it's going to be a submission early on. And yeah, that's all I have to say.
I think this is pretty easily Chimaev. Strickland, he's a better wrestler than people give him credit for, but you need a lot more than that to withstand the onslaught that is Chimaev. I'd be shocked if this wasn't a first or second round submission. I think Strickland could survive a round, similar to what DDP did, but I really think Chimaev's just going to smoke him when this fight happens.
But moving on, Israel Adesanya. I know he's on a crazy losing streak right now, but this is going to be the Adesanya that beat Robert Whittaker. This is the Adesanya that beat Anderson Silva pre his Pereira fight when he was stacking up wins. Marvin Vettori, Cannonier as well, Paulo Costa. He's still going to lose. He's still going to lose because Khamzat Chimaev is just too dominant. He's going to take him down. We saw what Dricus did to him, and so you might say, oh, that wasn't Adesanya in his prime. It doesn't matter. He's going to do it. He's going to take him down. Adesanya has a weak point, and that's his grappling. And that's Khamzat's strongest set in his inventory. His striking's decent. His wrestling is amazing. He's going to take him down, submit him. It's going to be over pretty quickly.
Adesanya at his peak had great takedown defense, but he still got taken down by guys like Jan Blachowicz, who is not the wrestler Chimaev is by a long shot. No diss to Jan Blachowicz.
Adesanya is the guy that got taken down by Pereira, right?
He did. I totally forgot about that.
Yeah.
He did get taken down by Pereira. But I think this is very simple. Like I said with Strickland, Chimaev's going to get him down. I can see him surviving. DDP kind of let out a nice blueprint of how to, maybe not win a fight, but not also, get submitted. That I think maybe Izzy can follow to survive, but there's just no world in which he wins this, I don't think, unless he catches him with an insane knee. But at that point, you're just wishful thinking. This is a Chimaev win pretty easily, in my opinion.
On to the next guy, our gold. It's going to be Anderson Silva, the GOAT of the division. He was great in his prime. He had the best striking ever, the most stylistic striking. He had the dodging, he had the counter, he had the dominance of his striking. He's getting destroyed as well. We saw what Chael Sonnen did to him. Chael Sonnen was beating him the whole fight.
He's going to get done worse than Izzy and Sean did by a lot, I think. He's not going to survive.
It's funny how these guys progressively are going to get destroyed worse and worse, even though they're higher than each other.
There's just no way Silva gets out of the first round. He got taken down by Weidman. He got taken down by, like you said, Chael Sonnen. Chael Sonnen had like 2 10-8 rounds against him. You don't think Chimaev's going to choke him out in 90 seconds? I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, it's going to be over pretty quickly. And this was the era where people were fighting tomato cans. Anderson Silva, he was fighting tomato cans. He was fighting guys that weren't well-rounded. And this is before the Dagestanis, the Chechens, all those Russian guys came into the sport. Khamzat Chimaev would destroy him. It'd be over quickly. This might be the guy that 100% would get past the whole gauntlet.
This is the only guy that I can think of that might actually be able to beat all 3 people in his gauntlet in like under a round worth of time.
Yeah.
Like they might all get done dirty in like 5 minutes.
Congrats to Khamzat because he wins. He needs to be more active. That's his weakness, bro. If there was a reason he wouldn't finish this gauntlet, it's because he'd get past Strickland and just stop fighting.
If he had his like COVID activity where he fought like twice in 2 weeks, this guy would probably be a fan favorite, but he only fights like once a year to year and a half. He just has to get in the octagon. I think his PR would turn around.
But yeah, on to the next fighter. The newly crowned champ, Carlos Ulberg.
Blackjack.
Man. I hate what he did to Yuri, but, let's see how he do in this gauntlet. Let's see who our first fighter is. Whoa. You hear that?
What is that?
Whoa, what's that? Oh my God! It's Alex Pereira! How did he make 180?
How did this guy make 185?
Oh my God. Oh my God. Shama, 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 Shama.
Pulling a bow out.
Amazing. Look at Pereira, man. What an inspiration.
Yeah, Ulberg, there's no catching there. Not Jamal Hill.
Wow. Beautiful. You know, I didn't even have to edit that in. Alex Pereira just comes with that music. Carlos Ulberg versus Pereira.
He's not going to catch the arrow like Jamal Hill. He's going to catch a left hook.
Alex Pereira just has too much aura. I met him in person. He was huge in person. Big hands. Like, he's just too powerful for Ulberg. We saw what Yuri did to him. We saw what the leg kicks of Yuri did to him. If the leg kicks of Yuri are going to do that to him, imagine what Alex's leg kicks. This guy's known for his leg kicks. He's going to destroy him, and he's not going to rush in like what Yuri did. No, Alex is going to wait until Carlos Ulberg does something stupid, and then he's going to throw the left hook, or he's going to throw a kick. He's not going to rush into danger like what Yuri did, and if he does, I don't think he's going to get chinned quite as easy as Yuri. He has a pretty good chin. But yeah, I think Alex Pereira, he's going to destroy him in either the first round or KO by any other round. I don't think Carlos is getting past Alex.
Yeah, like you said, Ulberg, I think I said in the 327 prediction video that he scared me because he was such a good counterpuncher and Yuri was wild. Alex really isn't unless he senses a finish, and most of the time when he senses a finish, it's because you're already in trouble. So yeah, I mean, I think he just does what he did to Izzy the first fight, honestly. Like, he's going to hit it, find a shot, it's going to wobble Ulberg, he's going to cut the cage off so he can't run away from him, and he's just going to pick him apart, knock him out, probably sometime in the first 3 rounds. Yeah, sorry for Ulberg, but he's going to fail early on this one. He's having to run into a division that's just full of monsters.
But yeah, on to the next guy. Daniel Cormier. This is Daniel Cormier in his prime. This is not the Daniel Cormier, the old guy that loves KFC, loves Popeyes. This is the prime DC that was double champ, beat Stipe Miocic, beat Derek Lewis. Well, this isn't heavyweight. Let me go back to light heavyweight. He beat Volkan Ozdemir, beat Anthony Johnson. This is prime DC. I think this DC destroys Carlos Ulberg as well. The wrestling is just way too powerful. The DC is known for taking down people way bigger than him and just overwhelming them with the wrestling. He also has the dirty boxing, the DD boxing. I think he'd either put Carlos to sleep or he would just overwhelm him with the wrestling. The whole fight would just be him dominating the wrestling. And maybe he takes him down, throws some ground and pound, gets him out that way.
Yeah, he's going to kill Ulberg. He's probably going to grab him like Dan Henderson, flip him down, ground and pound him, kill him. Daniel Cormier, I think I probably mentioned in the GOAT video that I think he's super underrated on people's all-time ranks. He gets kind of disrespected for being fat and for, having to go through the John Jones era of light heavyweight. I just don't see how Ulberg beats him. Cormier has such an elite chin. I don't see how Ulberg can really do anything against him other than punch his big head and not do damage to him. Yeah, I'm taking Cormier here, whether it's by the submission, knockout, decision, however he wants. He's beating him.
If it weren't for John Jones, then Daniel Cormier would be the GOAT of the division.
He maybe be an argument for just GOAT, honestly, because
greatest of all time. Yeah, this prime DC is destroying Carlos Ulberg. Yeah, on to the next guy. John Jones, prime John Jones. This is when everyone was afraid of him. Pregnant ladies driving the middle of the night would fear him. He was their boogeyman.
Lyoto Machida's getting dropped to the floor. This is
exactly.
This is 2013, not going for a decision. I'm here to kill you, John Jones.
Yeah, he's destroying him. John Jones of late 2010s. He's going to decision, kind of like what happened with Thiago Santos. Yeah, Anthony Smith as well. But the prime John Jones of the late 2000s, early 2010s.
He just wanted to hurt people, man.
Yeah, all he knew was how to hurt people. He loved being in the octagon. He had fun. We saw what he did to Rampage Jackson. We saw what he did to Rashad Evans. He's going to destroy Carlos Ulberg. Same way.
Yeah, absolutely. This would actually be the kind of fight that I think he would take some decent shots in from Ulberg. But I mean, maybe you can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't think that John Jones has ever been dropped. I don't think he's ever really been cracked that hard either, except for maybe one time by Rashad. But yeah, John Jones wins. I feel bad for Ulberg. This is a gauntlet that he really had no shot in with any of the fights.
This is the first one guy that we're you're confident that he's not going to get past any of them.
Whereas Chimaev, it was like he's going to beat everyone.
But yeah, I don't know. Maybe we're underselling him. We'll see how he does throughout his time as champ. And we'll see if he's maybe better than John Jones, if he's better than DC or Alex Pereira. But I highly doubt it.
Yeah, I will say the only person on here that I would give him like the slightest shot against is just Alex, just because I could maybe see him hitting with a crazy counterpunch that drops him. I don't see a world where he beats John or DC at all. That just would shock me if that were possible.
But yeah, moving on. Tom Aspinall. What would it take after he got eye poked, unfortunately? So we don't even know how good he's going to be.
We can take Cyril Gahn fight Aspinall. We can take 6 months.
Okay, we can forget about the eye poke, pre-eye poke, because that's the last time he was actually, in a championship fight.
Yeah, we're not gonna say Ulberg's got a torn ACL because then he would definitely not.
Yeah, that's a good point. But yeah, okay, let's see who the first guy is. Cain Velasquez. This is tough. This is tough, but Cain Velasquez, he's in his prime. This is when he was knocked out by Francis Ngannou.
This is Tom Aspinall's hero, by the way, or his favorite fighter. I don't know if you knew that.
Oh, wow, I didn't know that. I think he's going to win this fight. He's going to take him to the ground. And I know Cain Velasquez, he's known for having good stamina, C-level Cain. Tom Aspinall, he's known for ending fights early. I think he's going to find a way to end it early. We've never seen him pass the second round. We rarely see him pass the first.
He's only been to the second round for 30 seconds against Andrei Arlovski, of all people.
Exactly. He's either going to knock him out, find the chin, or he's going to submit him somehow. I think Tom Aspinall, he's just the guy to do it.
In a lot of ways, Cain is really like the 2010s Aspinall. I mean, fight styles are fairly similar. Cain, he leaned a bit more into the wrestling than Tom did. But these are guys, quicker heavyweights, have skill in all facets of the fight game. Stamina, obviously we don't know anything about Aspinall's really, but Cain has elite stamina. So if he can survive, maybe he can, make this look, competitive. We don't really know what to think of Aspinall out of the side of the first round. We don't know what he looks like. So it's kind of hard to predict any fight of his that doesn't get finished early. But I think that speaks a lot to how good Tom is that you can't predict anything outside of the first round. So I'm going to take Aspinall here. He's probably going to find the chin, like you said. I think there's just a slight quickness gap, a little bit of a power gap. He couldn't do it against Gahn because he's a bit of an awkward striker, but I think he would be able to do it against Cain.
Moving on. Francis Ngannou, the guy that beat Cain Velasquez. This is the Francis Ngannou that beat Stipe right before he left the UFC, beat Stipe, beat Gahn, and now they give him Tom Aspinall. This one's a little close, but I still give it to Tom Aspinall just because we know the weaknesses of Ngannou. We know his weaknesses are in his wrestling. Tom Aspinall, he's the guy that has jiu-jitsu. That's his first martial art. His father was one of the first guys that was a black belt in the UK. We know what's going to happen. He's going to take him down. This is how I'm picturing it. Francis Ngannou, who's going to try to throw something at him. Tom Aspinall, he's going to change levels, put his arms around the waist. He's not going to fully take him down, but he's going to get to the back. Francis Ngannou's going to be on his hands and knees. He's going to be on his back. He's going to throw punches, boom, 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 at the sides of his head. Francis Ngannou's going to fall. He's going to get the neck of Francis Ngannou. He's going to get the hooks, throw a rear naked choke, and he's just going to submit him that way. Either that or he's going to ground and pound, and Francis Ngannou is going to get TKO'd, kind of like what happened to Curtis Blades.
Yeah, I also give this to Tom. Ngannou, again, people talk about his grappling being really, really bad, and technically he's bad, but he has an advantage of strength over a lot of people, and that's kind of what you saw with Gahn. He's actually able to, mix it up, which is, showing new stuff for him. It's sad that he had to leave the UFC after that. We never really got to see him progress. I'm going to take Tom, though. I think he will be able to take him down, while Ngannou might be able to give more resistance than most people think. I think Aspinall's just going to submit him. I think on the feet, he's going to want to avoid Ngannou in terms of the wild power that he has. He can put out anyone's lights. So I think it's going to go, what he say he's going to do against Pereira. He's going to spear him if they ever fought, right? I think he's just going to do that to Ngannou. He's going to sprint across the cage. He's going to grab him. He's going to take him down. And he's going to submit him in the first round.
On to the final guy. But Prime Stipe Miocic, I think he's knocking his head off. We saw what DC did to him. This DC was fighting a prime Stipe Miocic. He was still in his prime because that version of Stipe was able to beat Francis Ngannou. So he was still, and he was able to beat DC as well in their other fights. So he was still in his prime. He was able to be chinned. We saw him getting chinned by DC. We saw him getting chinned by Francis Ngannou. I think Tom Aspinall does the same thing. We know what he does. We saw what he did against one of the heaviest punchers, Sergey Pavlovich, the boogeyman. We saw what he did, Curtis Blades as well. He's going to do the same thing to Stipe Miocic. He's going to knock him out. I don't even think there's going to be any ground and pound. It's just going to be a clean knockout.
Either way, I think he can beat him. He can knock him out. I think he can take him down and submit him, similar to kind of like what he did to Volkov. Stipe, look, he might be the most skilled, pure heavyweight that we've seen, or at least one of them. But I mean, Aspinall is so big. He's so strong. He's so fast. I think he would knock him out. I think the fight would stay on the feet long enough for that to happen. But even if that's not the route Aspinall wants to go, he has the luxury of both being an elite striker and an elite grappler. So, I mean, however he wants it, he wants to knock him out, he's going to knock him out. If he wants to take him down and submit him, he's going to do it. Yeah, I mean, it would suck for Stipe. I think he's a fan favorite, even though nobody knows what he's saying half the time. But it did suck to see him go out the way he did against John. That feels like it's such a far cry from what he was, I mean, even in like COVID. So even if we're getting peak Stipe, though, I still think that Tom would beat him. I think it might be a little closer than people would, think, just because Stipe's got so much skill, but eventually Aspinall is going to beat him like he does to everyone else.
Yeah, it might be the thing where, it looks like Stipe's winning, like kind of what happened to John Jones, and then he gets knocked out, or he gets taken down and submitted. Tom Aspinall's the other guy that he's going to finish the gauntlet. Either that, or it's going to be a freak injury like what he's experienced in the past. This guy's just very unlucky. He's either very lucky or very unlucky.
Just to summarize, how many fighters did we have completing the gauntlet?
Just Chimaev and
Aspinall.
Chimaev, Aspinall, Islam as well. Yeah.
We didn't have Topuria beating Islam, right? No.
Yeah, maybe Topuria. He's one of the maybes.
We had Topuria as a maybe. How many like hell knows that we have?
Petr Yan. Yeah, we said Petr Yan is completing it too.
We had 3 completions, right?
4, I think 4, because Petr Yan, Islam, Chimaev, and Tom Aspinall now.
So we think half the champions can do it. That's wow.
That's pretty good. That means we're in a good era for champs.
We only had how many like no's? Like we said Ulberg had no shot. We said
Joshua Van.
We had 2 that we said had like no shot, and then we had Ilia. We said maybe could do it, and then Volk we said had a chance somewhat, right?
No, actually no, because he's not getting past Ilia.
No, yeah, you're right. But I mean, he at least had like 2 competitive fights. Van and Ulberg, we didn't even think we were gonna win one. That was a really fun video, to be honest.
Yeah, I think we're living in a good era of fighters. We have good fighters. We have good champs. This might be one of the best eras in the UFC. Let us know what you guys think. Let us know who you think could pass the gauntlet.
Thanks for watching.
See you guys later.
See ya.